Hey, what's up? It's Travis Johnson for What's Really Good, and I got a special guest with me.
Hey, what's up? It's Talia Collins from the Ziggity Boom podcast.
Yes, and this is a special episode of What's Really Good. It's dedicated to Kata Scott and family, and it leads us to the question, what the is going on with our kids? Let's find out. So if you've been following the case of Kata Scott, apparently she was stalked by information continues to come in, but the latest that we know is that she was stalked. There may have been more than one person involved with the case, and
this is truly a sad story. This is a young lady out of Philadelphia. She was 23 years old. Allegedly, she was being harassed or stalked by someone. It says that she never named who it was, but there is a suspect in custody by the name of Keon King, who was only 21 years old.
Wow. So we wanted to come on and talk about the case, but we've been seeing so many cases. I mean, you can't avoid cases of and just savage violence. So just way beyond belief with our youth today. So it was important to both of us as parents to sit down and try to help heal, but also try to figure a couple of things out.
Yeah, this is very concerning because as we were talking and we were listening to this case today, it just came to both of our minds that, as Travis said, what in the world is going on with these children nowadays? Because that's what they are, children. When you're 20, 21, you're still a child. You're still not fully mentally developed. And it's like for their minds to be in this psychological state where they're okay with killing and committing these savage crimes, it just really makes you wonder what's really happening with the youth today. Like, why are their mindsets so demented like this?
Yeah. And it's really hard to understand. And as Talia said, at such an early age, I mean, many of the crimes that we're hearing, the savage crimes, so the kidnapping, the murders, we're talking about kids that are in their 20s for the most part. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, and rightfully so, that crime is on the downside, and that there is truth in that. So if you are in any of the cities in America, if you're talking about the 90s or the late 80s, 90s versus now, crime is definitely down. However, what they're not taking into consideration is that the crime is being committed by people that are much younger.
Yes.
Then these are adults by law, but they're not grown. They're not grown adults yet. And the crimes are such, they're so savage. So I'm a guy out of the 90s, and we knew drug dealers to commit crimes. We knew that there were some bad guys on the block. But for the most part, the bad guys hung out on one side. You hung out on the other side. But what we're finding now is we're talking about average children. So we're talking about a child maybe working at Target, maybe working at the local store, the local restaurant, turning out to be a serial killer. These things were not happening back in earlier times.
Well, yeah, just like the gentleman that's a suspect in the Kata Scott case. Again, he's only 21 years old. And also it's been found that this was not his first time, or he has a record, so to say. Wow. It looks to be that he initially had a previous case where he had kidnapped another young lady and had attempted to break into her house. He kidnapped her, apparently drove her around Philadelphia while assaulting her, and she managed to get away, or he let her go. The DA in Philadelphia is also being looked at sideways now for dropping the case, because apparently the case was dropped because the witnesses didn't show up. But they're saying there was enough video evidence for the case to have been moved forward and him to be prosecuted. People are blaming them and saying that if they had prosecuted him, he wouldn't have been free in the first place, and Kata Scott would still be with us, which is just, it's terribly, it's unfortunate.
Wow. A lot to unwrap. Check out this word from our sponsor, and we'll be right back. So another part of the case that's concerning and troubling is that I'm hearing that there's a friend. So there was or an acquaintance. I'm not sure if it's somebody that she hung out with, but there was an acquaintance that knew in advance that this guy was stalking, was probably a little overly interested, and decided not to say anything.
Correct. This case is crazy because there was a young lady apparently days before Kata was found that she had actually come to social media and had made a post about this in a sense, and people are kind of coming down on her too, because then she made another video stating that she's not one to go to the police and this is why she hadn't said anything initially. But as you were saying, that apparently he had contacted this young lady, they knew each other and were mutual acquaintances, and he had contacted this young lady asking her if she had known Kata, and she told her yes, and that
Right.
Kata lived behind her.
I believe they said he was. She called him the pharmacist, so I guess that was actually the one of the drug dealers in the neighborhood.
Allegedly, we always have to say allegedly because we don't quite know. We just know what we're listening to. But yes, allegedly, maybe he was one of the dealers, and that's what this whole connection was about. Not saying that Kata was involved in anything.
In drugs, we're not saying that,
right? But because from what,
and I think it was weed. So I mean, we're not saying anything.
Not sure, but we don't know what's really the full details of this case because there's mixed stories going around.
A lot of stories going around.
There was a video that Kata's aunt that I watched that the aunt had did, and apparently the aunt did this video before everything came to surface with the public. But the aunt was stating that apparently this was a case of there was a jealous female involved, and that this gentleman was harassing her. So it sounds like you said, there's multiple persons involved. We don't know if this was a case of jealousy, because it sounds like Kata was a very promising young lady. She was working. She had graduated from Penn State, I believe is what they said. Right. She had her own clothing line. She seemed to be very popular in doing her thing. So we don't know if this is a case of jealousy or what's going on here. But either way it goes, like we said, for these persons to be so young, it's sickening, and it's really concerning as to what's going on in their psyche. These children.
Well, doctors and scientists are saying that it has something to do with the drugs that they're doing. So as a guy from the 90s that's, was involved in hip hop and tried, a couple of different things, I can attest to the fact that they're fucking doing hard drugs.
Very true.
They're doing hard drugs. So in my time, we were probably afraid of certain drugs. Now you've got pills, you've got kids doing all different types of chemical related drugs. And then on top of that, we're still dealing, I believe, by fact, that we're still dealing with a lot of crack children. So in the started in the late 80s, going into the early 90s, going right into the 2000s, and believe it or not, right now there are still some people smoking crack. So a lot of children that are, I guess, between the ages of as early as now, maybe as 20 years old. So maybe somewhere between 20 and 40, doctors are saying that a lot of those children are showing the effects of their parents taking illicit drugs in the 80s and 90s.
Very true. I've read about this before, but I also think it's a combination of a lot of different things. I think it's a combination of the drugs. I think it's the times that we're living in. I think it's the music. I just think that this generation now, they don't have value for life.
Jerry, good news, buddy. Mitch is coming out with us tonight.
Seriously? Fine. I'll come out. 2 hours.
Yes!
Oh, God, no. Get off. No.
Police are on high alert after another brutal home invasion slaying and have expanded their checkpoints throughout the city.
Wally's Was.
Come on in.
Are your roommates home right now?
No, they went out for a little bit.
He's dead.
We gotta kill him. We're gonna get rid of this body, and we're never gonna talk about this again.
But we have to play it cool.
Okay, so here's the plan. Mitch and I, we get the body, we bring it to the alley the moment you give us the thumbs up that everything is clear. Capiche?
What is capiche, man?
Do you understand?
No, that's why I'm asking.
See, I told you we'd have fun tonight.
Thank you, Charlie. Thanks a lot, man. This really worked out great. This is great. Give me a lot of go.
Where's Wally?
What? A rat?
that's a good point. You talk about the music. So I'm first generation hip hop, and I always hear a lot of the young people say, well, you guys had violence too. You guys had Mobb Deep. You guys had MOP. But there was a difference, and I'm going to tell you exactly what the difference was. So from the beginning of the times of whether you want to call it, we didn't have drill rap, but we had gangster rap. But NWA was talking about fighting against the police. Yeah, they were talking about being gangster with it, but fighting against the police. Mobb Deep and guys like that were talking about exactly what you thought they were talking about. They were talking about kicking some ass. But let me tell you the difference. You got guys down in Atlanta talking about shooting at your mother and doing it. I don't want to hear raps about shooting about your mother. And words have meaning. Words have meaning. So we hear songs about shooting your mother, shooting your ops. You got to kill somebody's kid and all. And it happens. It happens. It's manifested and it fucking happens.
Yes, like as you said, words have power, and that's the most important thing. Music is a chant in a sense. You're chanting words over and over again. It's getting into the subconscious mind, but that's a whole nother topic and a whole nother show. But also, like you said, just the tone of this generation is different. Like I remember growing up and those that came before me, there was also what's called a code of the street where women, children were off limits. You didn't do things in the daytime. So I think that's just also too, though that's not a good thing, the code of the street necessarily, but it is what it is. And that's what it was. There still was some type of, some may agree with this and may not, but there still was some type of moral compass when it came to the streets years ago versus how the generations operate now.
Absolutely. And here's where we get to what's really good. I'm going to tell you what's really good. If you're even thinking about still committing crimes in 2025, you're a fucking idiot. And I'll tell you why. You can't get away. And I'm not advocating that people get away. But if you thought that you could commit crime in the United States of America and get away, I got another thing coming. The time that it takes them to catch you is even greatly reduced now. We're talking to you right now on social media. Social media is even helping to catch criminals nowadays. Mm-hmm. Besides the fact that there's a fucking camera every 100 feet, especially in the city.
Yeah, and there used to be a show years ago called America's Dumbest Criminals. And I can say in this day and time, those criminals on that show were very dumb. But in this day and time, like you said, with all the high technology and technical ways that they can catch you and do things, you have to be dumber and dumber. And it's just stupid. Like why would you want to walk around in life with that weight on you, on your mind, your subconscious? It's just too many other things to be doing in the world. It's just really sad. Absolutely.
To top it off, to sum it up, it's too much opportunity. It's too much opportunity out here. Crime we're really living in an age when crime doesn't pay. It really doesn't. I mean, there's so many things that build an app. You'll make more per hour off your app than committing crime. Trust me, do the numbers. This has been Talia and Travis for What's Really Good. See you soon, and check out this message from BGF TV.
I'm glad you feel that way. That's why I called Pops. And Pops agreed with me on the situation. He said he gonna handle that.
What? You shouldn't have done that. Because your father and your stepfather do not get along.
I am not calling him stepdad, so you might well stop that right now. Stop that shit.
I know damn well you ain't cuss at me. Cuss at me again. You're going to be in your new place sooner than you think. You're going to be sleeping with Elvis and moonwalking with MJ. Hell wrong with you.
Man, what you laughing at? You get slapped like a hooky in the street? Man, I'll beat you.